In the last 7 days before deciding to leave, I became exactly what my family wanted me to be. I didn't argue or fight, and I gave in to Sunny on everything. When she wanted my work to be submitted for a competition, I handed it over. If she asked me to go out in the snow, I'd wrap a scarf around me and head out. Initially, they all thought I'd come around thinking, "You owe Sunny so much, and you finally figured out how to make it up to her." Later, when they saw my indifference, they were confused. "Becky, why aren't you upset anymore?" I just smiled slightly and thought, "Isn't this what you all wanted?" When the system contacted me again, I was by myself celebrating my birthday. There were 7 days left before I'd be able to leave this world. I silently acknowledged this and took a bite of cake. The low-quality frosting didn't taste good, but thinking this would be my last birthday cake in this world, I swallowed it anyway. Before I could put my hand down, the door was kicked open. My brother Ken saw me crouched on the floor, and there was a flicker of disdain in his eyes. "We've been calling you to come and celebrate Sunny's birthday, and here you are hiding, celebrating your own." Dad, David, emerged from behind Ken, snatched the cake from my hand, and smashed it in my face. Sticky frosting covered my face and hair, and the slick feeling was unbearable. I stared blankly at my dad as he yelled at me, "You just don't want to celebrate with Sunny, huh? Sunny was so hard to find, and you don't appreciate her. Haven't we given you enough over the years? You're so starved for attention that you can't share a bit with Sunny?" In the hallway, Mom held Sunny and looked at me with barely concealed impatience. Though she said nothing, her silence said it all. I looked at the identical expressions of disgust on their faces and instinctively raised my hand to defend myself. Before I could, Ken slapped it down, leaving red marks on my fair skin. "Becky, do you really have to ruin Sunny's birthday? Have you forgotten how much she's been through because of you? Are you trying to bully Sunny again?" I stared at him without saying a word. After that incident, I'd cried countless times trying to defend myself. But no matter how dry my throat got or how many tears I shed, they never believed me and only comforted Sunny, whose eyes were only slightly red. I'd wanted to ask them why they didn't trust me after all these years together. But now I'm about to leave. The answer doesn't matter anymore. I chuckled softly and met Ken's eyes. Once, those eyes were full of affection when they looked at me. But now all I saw was contempt. Ken saw my gaze as a challenge, and his chest heaved before slapping me across the face. "You still got attitude. What do you want?" My head turned to the side, and there was a tingling pain on my left cheek. Sunny, who stayed behind everyone else, let out a small cry. "Brother." She wasn't worried about me, just startled by Ken's actions. Mom patted Sunny's back and gave me one last disgusted look. "Enough, Ken. It's Sunny's birthday. Don't ruin it for her. Let her reflect on her own." Ken sneered, stretched out his foot, and kicked over the cake in front of me. The little figures for decoration toppled over, their expressions looking like a crying face. The door slammed shut in front of me. The laughter and birthday wishes outside were sealed off by the door, but still seeped into my ears. I propped myself up and headed to the bathroom. The swelling and frosting on my face were reminders of everything that had just happened. I cleaned it bit by bit with a towel. "It's all right, just 7 more days." I comforted myself. "In 7 days I'll be gone. Sunny and I are twins, and today is our birthday." Since Sunny was found after being kidnapped because of her playful nature, this is her 2nd birthday with us. Dad, Mom, and Ken put a lot of emphasis on it, preparing months in advance. As for me, with the same birthday, I was forgotten. I only found out about all this yesterday when Sunny came to boast. "Sister, Mom and Dad said they prepared an amazing birthday party for me. Do you know what it's like? I'm so excited." I knew then that this party had nothing to do with me, so I didn't respond to Sunny. Sunny wasn't satisfied with my lack of reaction and kept on, "Oh, I forgot. Mom and Dad don't want you to come. But it's okay. If you want to, I can ask them if you can join." Sunny held her head high, flaunting her victory in front of me. "No, thanks," I replied coldly. When Sunny first came back, I thought she was just as innocent as she seemed. That's why I fell into her trap and was wrongfully accused. Sunny played the victim, bathing in the love and protection of Mom and Dad. Our family relationship deteriorated because of her. Sunny laughed. "It's really sad, Becky. You lived with them for over 10 years. But in the end, I'm the one they love the most. You're such a failure. But you owe me this. If only you'd been the one taken, I wouldn't have suffered so much. Her eyes flickered with resentment and malice before she quickly resumed her facade. Oh, Becky, do you know what Mom and Dad say about you? They think you're conniving, selfish, and dramatic. Unworthy to be their child. Becky, you really failed in this family. My heart ached with every beat. My task here is to make sure the parents of the kidnapped child aren't too heartbroken. Over the years, I'd begun to see them as my own parents. But now that they have Sunny and clearly despise me, it's time for me to leave. So when the system came to me asking if I had changed my mind, I agreed without hesitation. It wasn't mine to begin with. The door opened again. Sunny walked in like some criminal revisiting the crime scene, eyeing the cream on me with disdain. Girl, why haven't you cleaned up yet? That cheap cream on you really suits you. Both are pretty awful. I just kept wiping the cream out of my hair, ignoring Sunny's taunts. This wasn't the first time she tried to rile me up post-event. I used to snap back at her, but she'd just run crying to Mom and Dad. So I stayed silent. Seeing my lack of reaction, Sunny started looking around my room for something new to snatch. Today's my birthday and Dad, Mom, and my brother gave me cool presents. So, what are you giving me, Becky? Sunny crossed her arms, not realizing how ridiculous her demand sounded. In the past, I would have snapped back, questioning what she got for me. But now none of that matters anymore. Sunny's eyes landed on my desk. She lit up and grabbed something. Is this for the design contest? Becky, didn't know you secretly signed up. Sunny tucked the paper behind her, all smug, and ordered, Becky, since you didn't get me anything, let this be my birthday gift. It's just a drawing, you won't mind, right? I looked at what Sunny held behind her. It was the project I worked 3 months on, consulted countless times with my teachers. I hoped it might win something to help mend family ties because, in the past, my parents loved my good grades. But now I don't need it. Withdrawing my gaze, I continued fixing my hair in the mirror. If you want it, you can have it. Sunny looked shocked by my indifference. It wasn't her first attempt at taking my things. I used to resist until Dad, Mom, and Ken scolded me into giving up. She's taken so much, one more won't hurt. My calm seemed to irritate Sunny. She clenched her fists, glaring. Becky, don't think giving me stuff makes up for everything or erases it all. You owe me. If it was you taken instead of me, I'd have a happy life too, not waking up to labor before dawn. Everything you have, I should have too. Sunny's eyes reddened, and she dashed out. Just as I finished cleaning the mess on the floor, Mom walked in with a cake box and sat down. Haven't eaten yet tonight? Here's some leftover cake for you. Even after everything, facing Mom always softened me up. In my original world, I lost my parents young and lived with an aunt who saw me as a burden, providing only the basics. Watching others cuddle with their moms always made me envious. In this world, I finally felt a family's warmth. Mom cherished me, calling me her precious Becky. She stayed by my side in hospitals when I was ill. I got to experience things I never had before. I lost myself in it, and even after finishing the system's task, I didn't leave. But everything changed when Sunny returned. Snapping back to reality, I opened the cake box with shaky hands. The softness inside me vanished instantly. Calling it leftover cake was accurate. A tiny, misshapen piece lay sad and lonely. Might as well toss it, yet they saved this sliver for me. I held the box awkwardly, unsure whether to take it or leave it. Mom thought I was touched, a smile on her face. Well, you've had cake and celebrated your birthday, so I have something else. Your teacher mentioned you got a guaranteed spot? Ask if it can be given to Sunny. You're bound to get into a college with your scores, but Sunny's struggling. After all, you owe her for what you did before. Mom was gentle, but her words cut deep. My throat blocked like something stuck. Mom, I can't. Mom frowned, unhappy with my defiance. What do you mean, can't? A simple favor, really? Becky, I've done everything for you, and you won't help now? This is how you repay me. Her impatient eyes stabbed at my heart. For a moment, I wanted to tell her so much. To explain, it was impossible to do what she asked. To ask why I must always sacrifice for Sunny. To question Mom, do you really hate me so much? But I swallowed it all back. What's the point? They've already made up their minds about me. Okay, Mom, I'll talk to my teacher. My words, yielding and compliant, surprised her. You're serious? I understand her doubt. When they pressured me to give in to Sunny, I'd resist, argue, unwilling until scolded into reluctantly giving in. This time I didn't fight. I'm leaving soon, so why waste breath? My mom had no idea what I was thinking. She looked all pleased with herself. I mean, Kim was right. Leave you alone for a bit, and you'd figure it out. Finally, you're getting that Sunny's your little sister, and you should let her have her way. You owe Sunny so much. You should make it up to her. Just keep doing this. Don't mess with Sunny anymore, got it? Her words were sarcastic and dismissive. Such was my mom's way of educating. I looked at her, the seemingly gentle woman in front of me. She seemed much different from the mom I remembered. The care and love I once thought she showed me felt like an illusion now. I forced a bitter smile and pushed down the swirl of emotions inside. After Mom got the answer she wanted, she left. I watched the cake in front of me for a moment before chucking it in the trash. Don't waver, Becky. She's not your mom. The next morning, I put on my mask as usual and left my room. Sunny was proudly showing off the design draft she snagged from me yesterday to our parents. Mom, Dad, look at this draft I worked so hard on. You see how awesome I am? Dad took it, nodding with approval. That's my girl. I might not get it, but I know you'll win something with this. Mom hugged Sunny, snuggling her cheek. Her happy eyes and smile said it all. Sunny, you're amazing. When you win, we'll go out and party, okay? Yay. Thanks, Mom. Love you the most. Sunny hugged her and kissed her cheek. Ken, out of all of us, just stared silently at the design in Dad's hands. His eyes were deep in thought. I knew what he was pondering. Before Sunny came, Ken treated me like a treasure, never allowing any harm. His friends would tease and call him a siscon. He didn't mind, in fact he embraced it. Siscon, so what? You guys wish you could be. But since Mom and Dad grew distant, I expected Ken to still shower me with love. Yet, when I showed him my draft which took me 2 all-nighters, he mocked me. He glanced over my work and snickered. With your skills, Sunny's random doodles are better. Think you'll win? Try again in your next life. I looked at Ken. He knew the truth about the draft being my work, but chose to stay silent and praised Sunny instead. Sunny, you're really impressive. With designs like this, you're sure to win first place. Your brother's proud of you. I averted my gaze, hiding my disappointment. Becky, what are you still hoping for? You're no longer Ken's precious sister. Why would he spill the truth for you? Sunny's his favorite now. You're just the wicked sister who bullies her. I took a breath and looked again. Sunny was snug between our parents. Ken bent over, eyes only for her. Their happiness only made me feel like a stranger in the hallway. They were the picture-perfect family. I was just the odd one out. The bitterness in me overflowed. Sunny noticed me and smiled. Hey sister, come look. My work's pretty cool, right? Her eyes were full of anticipation. She thought I would fake being nice yesterday, and assumed I'd get mad today around Mom and Dad. But even Ken, the only one who knows the truth, chose to abandon me. If I were to argue now, who'd believe me? Crying would just give Sunny the stage to pretend to be the victim. She assumed she had me figured out, waiting for me to cause a scene. But she was bound for disappointment. I took a breath and didn't fight back for the first time. Yeah, it does look nice. Sunny was wide-eyed, shocked by my response. Becky, what did you say? I said it looks nice. I repeated calmly. It wasn't what Sunny wanted to hear. And she raised her voice but was cut off by Mom. It's getting late. Have your breakfast, Sunny. Let your sister take you to school, okay? Ken frowned, disapproving. Mom, if Becky takes Sunny, she might intentionally leave her. Don't forget the past. When Sunny first returned after 15 years missing, our parents might have felt sorry, but they couldn't bond right away. After all, I was their daughter, around for years by their side. They thought of me first for everything. Ken too often forgot Sunny during outings with friends. I'd have to remind him, and he'd remember. Back then, Sunny would look at the love I got with jealousy, but I believed she'd eventually fit in and be part of the family. Eventually, she did earn their attention and love, but it was at my expense. Memories floated back to the second month after Sunny came home. Mom and Dad asked me to take her out. At the amusement park, she clutched my hand, asking for ice cream. I took that as her trying to bond, so I happily queued under the scorching sun. When I came back to where I was with the ice cream, Sunny was nowhere to be seen. I figured she'd just gone for a walk nearby, so I waited by the roadside for a while. But the ice cream melted in the sun, and sweet cream dripped onto my hand. Still no sign of Sunny. That's when I realized something was wrong. I tossed the ice cream and hurried to the service desk to broadcast a message looking for Sunny. They announced it 3 times over the loudspeakers in the amusement park. Still nothing. Shaking, I called my parents, telling them Sunny was missing. They dropped everything and immediately called the police. We finally found Sunny in a rundown shack on the outskirts by nightfall. She was being held down by an old man who looked like he collected junk. As soon as she saw us, she cried out for help. "Dad! Mom! Save me!" Sunny was safely rescued, and when she was in my mom's arms, the first thing she said was an accusation against me. "Sister, I know you don't like me and feel like I take your attention. But why? Why did you leave me again?" Sunny fainted in my mom's arms. What I got was a slap from my dad and a furious scolding. "Becky, how could you be so heartless? Sunny's your sister. Did you really just leave her like that? Do you have any idea what could have happened if we'd gotten there any later?" Even my brother Ken, who usually adored me, looked at me with disgust. "Becky, I thought you were sweet and innocent, but I didn't expect you to be so cruel. I trusted you to take care of Sunny, and this is how you do it?" I didn't have time to deal with the burning pain on my face. I rushed to defend myself. "No, I didn't do it. I took her to the amusement park today. Yeah, I even have the tickets." I quickly searched my bag for the tickets, but I couldn't find them, not even a trace. My mind went blank and I froze. Then I remembered, Sunny had the tickets all along. I looked at Sunny. Her hair was a mess, and she had bruises everywhere. At the moment, she looked like an innocent little bunny, all protected by my mom and dad. Meanwhile, I was the villain who had hurt her. Ken pushed me hard on the shoulder, and I fell awkwardly to the ground. "Becky, stop trying to weasel out of this. You resent Sunny, and you hurt her on purpose." I looked at my family, the 3 people closest to me. All I saw were faces filled with disgust. No one doubted Sunny, and no one believed me. From then on, I was labeled as the jealous sister with a cold heart. And Sunny became the apple of everyone's eye. Alone, she would smirk at me and say, "Sister, this is just the start. From now on Mom, Dad, and Ken will only have eyes for me. It's time for you to back down." Lost in thought, I faced more accusations and disappointment from my family. This time, unlike before, I didn't argue back. I quietly packed up my breakfast and headed to school. Ken shot me a surprised look, but quickly turned his attention elsewhere. "Sunny, don't worry. I've already told your sister to give up her recommendation slot for you. You don't have to work so hard in school. Mom will take care of you," Mom said, holding Sunny's hand tenderly. "Recommendation? Sunny doesn't even qualify," Ken said, confused, furrowing his brow as he explained the situation. Mom's half-smile faded, replaced with anger and disappointment toward me. "Becky, why didn't you explain this clearly to me? I got all excited for nothing. If you give it up and it doesn't go to Sunny, it's just useless. What were you thinking?" I put down breakfast and faced Mom, my tone calm. "Mom, even if I did say something, would you listen? You'd just think I didn't want to give it to Sunny and was making excuses. Once, Sunny wanted a set of books from my shelf. I said they were my friends, just stored at my place. But you didn't believe me. You thought I lied just to keep them from Sunny. You moved the books right to Sunny's room. In the end, I had to buy a new set for my friend before things settled down. No matter what I say, you don't believe me, so why bother?" But Mom just got angrier. She stood up, pointing a well-manicured finger at me. "Becky, is that how you speak to your mother? That attitude, is it right?" Dad got up too, yelling with one hand on his hip. "Becky, just talk things over clearly with your mom. You're making it look like we're the ones mistreating you. Aren't you the one who refuses to talk to us? You wear a mask at home daily, but I don't see you wearing it when you go out. And you still claim you want to communicate? You don't care to be part of this family." Facing my family's accusations, I closed my eyes wearily and pointed to the pot of flowers in front of me. "Dad, Mom, I'm allergic to pollen. I was even hospitalized as a kid, remember? A look of confusion crossed my parents' faces. They seemed to blank for a moment. Then Mom cleared her throat and said, "But Sunny's been here. And you didn't wear a mask before. You say you don't dislike Sunny, that you're not pushing her away?" I looked away, answering softly, "Mom, we never had flowers in the house before. But Sunny loves them." I didn't say the rest out loud, but everyone knew the meaning. Because of my allergies, there was never fresh flowers at home. But since Sunny liked them, with my parents' approval, the house was now filled with vases of flowers in every corner. When my parents saw it, they praised her for her skill, saying she was great with flowers. No one remembered my allergies. No one questioned the extra box of allergy meds in the trash. The room fell silent, no one spoke. Finally, Ken broke the silence. All right, it's not a big deal. We're going to be late for class if we don't leave." Ken brushed off my feelings lightly. Dad cleared his throat, implying it was nothing. "You've gotten used to wearing masks anyway, just keep wearing them." Mom looked away, too guilty to meet my eyes. "And Sunny?" She raised an eyebrow in challenge, mouthing, "Becky, you lost again." I stood there silently for a moment, grabbed my backpack and walked out alone. Yeah, they were right. I was used to it. After class, when I got home, the place was empty and cold. No one was there. It was like Sunny had predicted my arrival time, sending me a series of pictures from the plane. Mom and Dad said I've been too tired lately, so they are taking me skiing in Switzerland. Just me. Be jealous, Becky. Sunny did this on purpose, wanting to see me angry and upset at my parents. But I had already realized what my place was with them. I calmly turned off my phone and made some oatmeal for dinner. Back in my old world, I learned how to cook for myself early on. After coming here, with care from my parents and brother, I barely touched the kitchen. Whatever I wanted to eat, I'd casually mention it, and they'd remember, serving it the next day. Like Mom used to say, "You're the apple of our eye. We can't let you cook." Until Sunny returned home. Until Sunny framed me. Since then, they often left me at home while they went out to eat, not even telling me. After waiting until I was starving sometimes, only then would they return laughing. After it happened so often, I started making my own meals again. But maybe because I hadn't cooked in so long, my fried rice got burnt. That night, I sat alone at the table eating burnt fried rice. The burnt taste mixed with way too much salt filled my mouth, and suddenly a wave of sadness hit me. My eyes watered, and tears rolled down my cheeks. I thought of my parents' scolding, Ken's mistrust, and Sunny's unfounded accusations. "It's okay, Becky," I told myself. "Things will get better." In hindsight, these words were just to comfort myself. I used to spend too much time trying to prove my innocence, thinking if I could just find evidence and prove my innocence, I could be their good daughter and sister again. Reality proved this was all futile. They'd labeled me guilty from the moment Sunny framed me. After that, any explanation was just an excuse. They didn't need me anymore. But it's okay, others still need me. The next day around noon, my parents sent a message trying to make amends, saying they wouldn't be back for a few days. Their words were vague, not wanting me to realize they took Sunny out. I replied blandly, then took some days off from school. Well, I could use these days to do something meaningful. I tidied up my room. Honestly, I'm quite materialistic. I used to have lots of trinkets and fashionable clothes in my room, but almost all of those have been taken by Sunny for various reasons, leaving only what she didn't want. I gathered the newer and cleaner clothes and packed them, then took out my saved New Year's money. It wasn't much, but it was something. I took a cab to a children's home I'd arranged with, handing over the clothes and toys to the director. With winter coming, they were in need of warm clothes, and the director was grateful for what I brought. The kids were interested in the toys, clustering around them and laughing. Immersed in this joyful atmosphere, my heavy heart felt lighter. In my old world, I didn't have a loving family or caring parents. Here, I felt what I'd been missing. Whether it was comfort and support during tough times, or hugs and shared joy, it made me reluctant to let go. That's why I didn't return to my world after completing my tasks. Even with everything that happened later, even when my parents didn't love me anymore, seeing the kids' happiness reminded me of a sense of family I craved. Relief washed over me, and I gave the prepared envelope to the director. Just a small token, I hope you don't mind. The director felt the envelope, realizing what was inside. Her expression changed and she declined. Oh child, bringing things is enough. Why give money? You're still just a kid. I breathed out, firmly placing it in her hands. Please take it. I don't really need it. Seeing my resolve, the director finally accepted it. As I was about to leave, she stopped me. It's so cold out, and you're not wearing enough. She took off her scarf, wrapping it around my neck. Keep it on. Don't catch a chill. I whispered a thank you and walked home alone. The warmth from the scarf spread to my heart, dispelling the cold I'd felt for days. On the last day before I left this world, it was the solstice. The family finally returned from their outing. Mom, I want to go again. It was so much fun. Sunny was still buzzing with excitement. All right, whatever you want. Mom lovingly tousled Sunny's hair. Ken followed, carrying things he'd bought for Sunny, a smile plastered on his face. Their lively chats halted when they saw me sitting on the couch. Oh, why aren't you at school? Dad coughed awkwardly. It's the solstice today, school's on break. I replied casually. I thought you guys weren't coming back. Mom rubbed her hands awkwardly, then reached into her bag and handed me a bracelet. Of course not. It's the winter solstice, we rushed back home for it. Look, I even got you a present. I glanced at the bracelet. It felt a bit rough, probably a cheap gift from some Sunny promotion or something. I wasn't bothered, just nodded and started to head inside. Sunny, who had been silent, called out to me. Sis, aren't we supposed to eat tangyuan on the winter solstice? I know a place that has the best ones. Can you get some for me, please? Sunny. Mom tapped her on the forehead, feigning disapproval. It's freezing outside, and it's snowing too. Ken chuckled and patted Sunny's shoulder. No worries, Mom, it's just a short walk. Becky stays holed up in her room all the time. She could use some exercise anyway. Everyone in the room looked at me, waiting for my response. I was going to refuse, but then a notification popped up, changing my mind. Host, it's a good idea to head out. Remember, we're leaving this world today. The system always looked out for me. After a quick thought, I put on my coat. It's okay, I'll go get them. Mom's eyes widened in surprise. Becky, you want to go? Why aren't you making a fuss like usual? I smiled slightly. Didn't you all say I owe Sunny? It's something I should do. Mom bit her lip, but eventually grinned in satisfaction. All right then, off you go. I opened my umbrella and stepped outside, headed towards the route home. It was freezing out there. To minimize the chill, I took a shortcut. At the last small turn, a figure suddenly jumped out and grabbed me by the neck. My breathing stopped, suffocating pain hit me all at once. Thankfully, the system kicked in, blocking out the pain. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have spent 2 years in prison. The man had something small in his hand, raised it up, and stabbed it hard into my chest. It wasn't until the sound of tearing and the gush of red from my chest that I realized it. He was holding a knife. The man kept stabbing the knife deep into me. I strained to keep my eyes open and saw a face I recognized. It was the man who had tried to assault Sunny the night she got into trouble. Back then, he got caught and sentenced to 2 years for attempted rape. I never expected the first thing he'd do after getting out was seek revenge. Blood gushed from my mouth, and dizziness whirled in front of me. My legs gave out, and I collapsed onto the ground completely. Never thought I'd take a hit meant for Sunny right before dying. But it's all right. Maybe now Mom and Dad would be satisfied. I don't owe Sunny anything anymore. I slowly shut my eyes, feeling myself slip away from this body. Consciousness blurred. When I came to, I was a soul floating in the house. The system's mechanical eyes glowed. The world portal will take some time to open. Meanwhile, you can observe what happens after you leave your body. I nodded slightly. It had been 4 hours since I left. Even if I were a turtle, I would have made it back by now. Ken frowned in annoyance. Becky said she went to get tangyuan. Probably just slacking off. Dad checked his watch, about to scold when a call interrupted. A formal voice spoke on the line. Hello, are you Becky's father? This is the police station, and there's a body we need you to identify. Dad's tone was cold, full of impatience. Is this one of Becky's pranks? Tell her to come back. We don't have time for this nonsense. The officer's voice over the phone turned stern. Becky's father, we don't joke around. Becky was stabbed 21 times. It's confirmed she's dead. Please come to the station to identify the body. Silence fell in the room. After what felt like ages, Mom's trembling voice broke it, clutching Dad's sleeve. Honey, this can't be true, right? Dad's face darkened before he made a decision. Whether it's true or not, we'll find out there. I followed them to the station, led into the morgue. The cold drawer opened, revealing my pale face to everyone. Bloodstains were still in my hair, frozen chunks clinging and tangling it. Victim was found with 21 stab wounds, organs ruptured. She had already lost too much blood by the time officers arrived. Mom's knees buckled, and she held on to Ken to keep from collapsing. Her hands covered her mouth, tears streaming from her wide-open eyes. How could this happen? She was just fine just a moment ago. Dad's eyes turned red, the earlier scolding forgotten, clung to the officer's arm desperately. Officer, my daughter was always well behaved. Someone murdered her. You must catch the killer and avenge her. Even Ken, who often criticized me, turned pale looking at my cold blue body. Among all of them, only Sunny, bundled up warmly, quietly smiled. The officer held up a plastic bag with scattered tangyuan and their packaging. These were found on the deceased. They're irrelevant to the case. Take them if you need. Mom took them with trembling hands, looked at them as if recalling something, and suddenly slapped Sunny. It's all your fault. If not for you, Becky wouldn't have gone out, she wouldn't have. Mom, this has nothing to do with Sunny. Don't hit her. Ken protected Sunny, tensions flaring in the morgue. The officer furrowed his brow, about to shoo them out when another officer rushed over, voice urgent. Sir, we got the suspect. He confessed everything just now. The young officer's gaze lingered briefly on Sunny. 7 Everything's a bit complicated. You all better go check it out yourselves. Outside the interrogation room, Dad's eyes went wide seeing the person detained inside. Isn't that the guy who tried to assault Sunny before? How is it him? Sunny saw the familiar face and her pupils shrank. She gently tugged at Ken's shirt. Bro, I'm feeling uneasy. Can we leave now? Ken, who usually did whatever she asked, didn't agree this time. How about we find out why first? After all, your sister's the one who died. Sunny realized she couldn't escape, so she bit her lip and stayed at the back of the crowd. David, can you repeat what you just said? Someone conveyed the order to David inside. He spat and spread his legs nonchalantly. Yeah, I killed that girl. She put me in jail 2 years ago. When I got out, I lost everything, job, wife, everything. It's only fair she goes to hell with me. Do you remember the victim's name? David smirked while shaking his leg. Of course. That bit's name is Sunny. Back then she seduced me, almost had me in bed. Then bam, the cops show up. She didn't even explain, slapped me with attempted rape charges. I'll never forget her. His words echoed in everyone's ears through the speaker. Dad pointed stiffly at Sunny. What's he talking about? Sunny, you better have a good explanation. Mom's tear-filled eyes began to show hatred too. Sunny, did you frame your sister on purpose back then? Ken, who always had her back, dropped his hand and looked at her with suspicion. Sunny nervously fiddled with her fingers. I didn't. Her low, shaky voice wasn't convincing at all. Inside, David leaned back relaxed. Such a vile mind. Even lied to her parents saying the sister lost her on purpose. Trouble at such a young age is just bad news. So did I do a good deed then? David's words sealed Sunny's guilt. No, Mom, Dad, I didn't. Sunny frantically waved her hands. But like my past, no one wanted to believe her. Mom let out a piercing cry and lunged, hitting Sunny with all her might. How could you? How could you frame Becky like she wasn't your own sister? You did it on purpose, right? Mom was held back by others, yet her hands still aimed for Sunny. Dad bent his back suddenly, aging what seemed like 10 years in a moment. He looked deep into Sunny's eyes, fists clenched, perhaps regretting his former actions. But belated apologies and reflection are more worthless than grass. Sunny's face was swollen, and now she was getting hit again. She'd been pampered for so long, she'd grown quite headstrong. She stiffened her neck and glared fiercely. Yeah, I did it on purpose. So what? Why didn't they kidnap Becky? Why did I have to suffer all those years? It's not fair. Becky got to bask in Mom and Dad's love for so long. I just wanted a bit of it for myself. All I did was tell a lie. And you actually treated Becky coldly. What did I do wrong? Sunny's words were a stinging slap on their parents' faces, burning with intensity. You little brat. Is this how I raised you? Dad raised his hand and slapped Sunny too, causing people around to intervene. Sunny's cheeks were crimson from the slaps. She covered her face, sobbing with bitterness. Why? It wasn't fair from the start and Becky owes me. Sunny's cries were heart-wrenching. But this time, apart from the officers, no one comforted her. After the case was resolved, David was filed for prosecution and sentenced to death. My body was brought home, cremated and buried. Many people attended my funeral. Friends, classmates, even my teachers. They cried and shared memories in front of my photo. Listening nearby, regret etched deeper on my parents' faces. My homeroom teacher held flowers, tears welling up. Becky, child, you've suffered so much. She made a decision, quietly approached my mom. Becky's mom, pardon my offense, but this is something Becky always worked hard on. And I have to ask, how did Becky's design competition entry become submitted under Sunny's name? Is there a misunderstanding? Mom's face drained of color, recalling the drafts Sunny had shown them. Her tears flowed anew, choking as she promised the teacher an explanation. After the mourners left, Mom pushed open Becky's room door, dragging a lounging Sunny to sit up. Sunny, did you really go behind our backs and steal Becky's work? When I couldn't see, just how much evil did you do? Sunny met her head on, unwilling to back down. How did I mess up? What did I do wrong? Didn't you all enable this? Every time Becky didn't want to give me something, wasn't it you who hit her, yelled at her, and ordered her to hand it over? Mom, you, Dad, and Ken blame me for bullying Becky, for causing her death. But aren't you all the ones responsible for how things turned out today? I want to ask you, if Becky were still alive today, would you think I was wrong? Would you admit your own mistakes? Sunny's voice became almost deranged, and she shouted the last part. Even though her attitude was arrogant, a lot of what she said was true. Without Mom, Dad, and Ken's silent approval, I wouldn't have slowly built up disappointment and chosen to leave this world in the end. Mom's body wavered, her legs buckled, and she collapsed to the ground. She covered her face with her hands, tears flowing uncontrollably. Seeing all this from above, my soul wasn't happy. I don't care anymore, so why would I find joy in their guilt? System, I guess it's time for me to return to my own world. The system's little eyes gleamed. Of course. Due to the host's outstanding performance and the misunderstandings faced in this world, the system space will award the host extra compensation. Back in your own world, you must live a happy life. Light flickered, and I felt my soul passing through some kind of barrier. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in my little room in the original world. Looking at the familiar surroundings, I felt an unprecedented sense of comfort. Thanks for the well wishes. For the days to come, of course, I'll be happy and content. The end.